So last year's draft was not the year of the quarterback. Only 2 in the first round, but our draft experts fully expect that to change next year, 2026. Mike Renner is out with his latest mock draft. 5 quarterbacks in the first round. By the way, if you'd like to take a look at the whole thing, you can go over to CBSSports.com. He also points out, though, this is a year full of unknowns. We've had a lot of lesser-known players switching to major programs, and the number 1 pick, as of now, is a complete toss-up. So let's welcome in Mike Renner and Ryan Wilson. We are doing this draft, Mike, or at least you did it, on the belief that Arch Manning is not going into the draft. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right. So let's start with number 1 overall. And I mentioned kind of these lesser-known players that are now going to major programs. I became a fan of this guy because of Ryan, your podcast here. Fernando Mendoza was a Cal, went to Indiana. Mike, not a lot of people know his name yet. Why do you have him going number 1 overall to the Browns?
Because I was floored with what this guy did in such a bad situation. And unfortunately, if you're getting drafted by the Browns, it ain't going to be the perfect situation here next year with what they have there in terms of receiver talent, in terms of their offensive line. But he averaged over 270 yards per game as a passer in a situation where there ain't NFL players walking through that door at Cal at offensive line, at wide receiver. Now there are going to be. I think he's going to flourish at Indiana. He has good size, 6'5", long arm, real whippy arm, good arm strength, and you saw him play with NFL timing. So my first 2 quarterbacks off the board, I put them there because they're the 2 I feel the best about going in the first round right now. I just think their tape, their ability to play the quarterback position is the most advanced. Not to say that they definitely will, because there are some freaky athletes in this class. It's just these guys play the quarterback position with the way it's supposed to look like at the NFL level already.
Yeah, so a couple things, Amanda. You talked about the podcast. So Rain and I were talking about Fernando. We've been talking about him a lot this summer. But here's one of the things I kept coming back to. And Mike talked about the situation at Cal being, shall we say, not great. Situation at Indiana being much better. In fact, you talk to people in that program, they say that offensive line is the best that the Hoosiers have had in maybe an era. And the thing is, I can't envision a situation where Fernando Mendoza does not improve on what he did last year because of a lot of the things that Mike is talking about. He consistently stands tall in the pocket amidst pressure. He keeps his eyes downfield. He doesn't leave pockets early. And when he throws, he's able to throw off platform without setting his feet. And he's consistently accurate to all 3 levels. And he has a big arm. He's not 5'11". He's 6'5". He's 225, 235. So he checks those boxes. He's probably more pocket passer than athlete. But he can open it up in space if he needs to. And again, I don't know outside of injury how he wouldn't improve in a better situation given what we've already seen for him. And the other biggest question as a South Florida kid, I don't know how he got out of the state of Florida because there's some quarterback needy teams there, but he's going to take this game to Indiana, and I can't wait to watch it.
Somebody who may not get out of the state of Louisiana, I almost said the state of New Orleans, the state of Louisiana, Garrett Nussmeier. But first, we're going to go to the Saints at 2. Ryan, would you like to give a shout out to your guy? You're wearing the shirt today. They can't see it.
I got to because we don't know how much longer Spencer Rattler's going to be playing quarterback. So shout out to Spencer. Way to go. Take that, Rick Spielman.
Take that, Rick Spielman. Okay, the reason we're talking about that is, yes, look, we don't necessarily know how the Saints quarterback situation is going to unfold over the course of the season. Mike, right now you have them taking Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback at LSU. He's from Lake Charles. I mean, this is a Louisiana, New Orleans Saints guy. It feels just so fitting, Mike, that he would end up in this situation.
Truly one of the best prospect fits of all time. How many people can say they're going and getting drafted and their coach, their offensive coordinator, is their own father, Doug Nussmeier, former NFL quarterback, now the offensive coordinator for the Saints. And Nussmeier, this isn't just like, oh, it's a fun story that he could get drafted. No, this guy's that good. I mean, what he put on tape in his very first year, it's like the Mannings were. It's like these guys that, if you have been learning about quarterbacks since you first were able to talk, chances are you know the ins and outs of the position. And that's how I feel when I watch Nussmeier's tape. It's just that he has more creative throws on his tape. He knows how to layer the football. He knows how to attack zone defenses. He knows how to throw with anticipation. Those are all traits and skills that usually you're watching college quarterbacks being like, can they learn these things? Nussmeier, it's already there. It's more just, can Nussmeier avoid the hero ball that we saw a little too often on his tape, especially when he was trying to come from behind, made some ugly decisions. Can he get better at that in year 2 with now more talent at the receiver position at LSU? I think he does, and that's why I have him going here at number 2.
Yeah, I don't hate it. He is my QB1 outside of a world where Arch Manning doesn't exist. Fernando Mendoza's number 2. And Mike talked about it. I call guys squinters sometimes. You have to sort of squint to see the production. There's none of that with Nussmeier because he does throw with anticipation. He looks every bit like the coach's son. The issue was last year, he got off to a strong start. And I thought we were having first-round conversations about him for the months of October and certainly September. And then he started to try to do too much, and he started pressing. He started turning the ball over. And my comp for him was literally the spectrum of Joe Burrow at LSU coming out of Ohio State and Mac Jones as a Jaguars player. So you have to find the middle ground there, perhaps lean closer towards Joe Burrow. And I think he can get there if he doesn't press quite as much as he did last year. He's not a big guy. He doesn't have a huge arm, but he does a lot of things so well. And you don't have to worry about figuring out can he throw with anticipation because he's done it consistently in the SEC.
So both of you seem pretty big on those first 2 guys. And Mike, you said those were your 1 and 2, and that was pretty simple. At 3, going to the Jets, you have Lenore Sellers out of South Carolina. Ryan, you're really big on players deciding. I mean, I've heard so many times, I wish they would go back for another year. And that kind of seems like the case right now with Lenore Sellers, If he did make the leap to the NFL, what would he need to do this season? What would you need to see from him?
I think it's the accuracy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And timing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I think it's the accuracy and timing is the biggest things. It's just like he is an athlete playing quarterback right now. I mean, the guy was a high school soccer player. You see that agility on his tape. You see the big arm. You see the big tools. But he's more athlete than quarterback. You know, all the things we kind of talked about with Nussmeier, where it's like he does those things extremely well. Those are the things we're hoping start to develop with Lenore Sellers in year 2. And he hasn't played a ton of football. Last year was his first year as starter. He was 19 years old until like midsummer. Like he is super young coming out. So that's why it would be an oddity if he does declare. I hope he takes as much time as he needs at the collegiate level and gets paid accordingly to do so because he is freakishly talented. But when he does go, I put him to the Jets because it makes the most sense for his development. They are this run-heavy team right now. They're built to play into his skill set. And that's why if he were to come out, this is the home I'd love to see him in.
All right, let's go to the Colts. By the way, Mike has 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. So we're going to go to the 4th one here. Colts at 10, taking Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. Ryan, it seems like Mike is making this choice, and the Colts are learning from past mistakes, going with a quarterback with a lot of experience. What do you think?
Yeah, unlike Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik got better as the season went on last year. I thought he got off to a slowish start, and then by the end of the season, he was playing some pretty high-level football. I want to see him continue to progress along those paths, and he could certainly find his way into the first-round conversation. I had him in the 50s on my big board and outside the first round as we sit here, but again, a lot can change. The other issue is that he's verified 6'1.5", and the last, going back to 2010, I think 50 or so quarterbacks have been taken in the first round. 6 have been under 6'2". Kyler Murray, of course. You have Caleb Williams, Tua Tagovailoa, Baker Mayfield. So you get a mixed bag there, and I just have to see him put it together and play with the consistency that allows him to be 6'1.5", because there's not a lot of successful quarterbacks, first-round picks anyway, at that size. But I'm not going to dispute that he got a ton better. He's going to have some weapons to work with offensively. Antonio Williams is one of my favorite players in this class at wide receiver, and that defense is going to be lights out. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities to get the ball back and make plays.
Mike, why do you like this so much?
I like it because you go from Anthony Richardson, who we kind of discussed, Lenore Sellers is in that mold. They're just like guys who really had to develop, to a guy who's going to play more football than anyone else in this draft class right now. You know, he's going to be a 3-year starter, even started games his freshman year back at Clemson, and kind of went the Bo Nix route, where early in his career, Clemson fans didn't love him. You know, a lot of people wanted him benched that first year as a starter, but every single year, even every single game, and as Ryan mentioned, even throughout last season, you saw big improvement. That's what you like buying into at quarterbacks.
Ryan, when's your next mock?
I think it comes out next week.
Oh, okay. I was thinking we're going to try to put it off as long as possible because you have to do so many during what is actually draft season. Guys, we appreciate it. By the way, like I mentioned, you can see all of Mike's first round mock on CBSSports.com, and you can see both of those guys on With the First Pick podcast hosted by Ryan Wilson. Also, Rand Carthen joins the show as well.